Good morning, America. This is part 2 of my inspirational video. Did you think you'll get rid of me? Not really. Well, let me tell you all something. Today I'm gonna talk about several topics, but the first one I want to talk about is education in this country. It is way too expensive. It is almost $400 for one credit, which I think is unfair and unjust. And something has to be done about it, because how are you gonna progress in your life if you can't get an education and make better of yourself? And then when you graduate from college, you can't even find a job because they tell you don't have the experience. Well, doesn't life teach you the experience? And how do they know if you're underqualified or overqualified? Do they really know who you are? Maybe they're wrong, because maybe you don't have the experience. Maybe you could teach others your experience in life and put that in the workplace. I think it is totally wrong and ignorant, and I've been to 100 interviews and they all turn me down because of the fact I don't have experience. That is totally wrong. We're in Miami, and we're in Miami, Florida, and here is apparently who you know, not what you know. And I believe that is totally wrong, because maybe you know somebody, maybe that person doesn't know anything what they're doing. Sometimes people have been in a job for 10 years, and maybe the person coming in knows more than the person that has been there 10 years. Maybe they can show leadership qualities and make those around them better. For example, let me give you an example of somebody that I admire growing up. Michael Jordan. He came out of college and he just shocked the world. I admire him because he never quit. He was a warrior. He was a soldier, and he just never gave up. That's the type of people we need in the workplace, and in the world in general, whether it be in the United States or any other country. We don't need these corrupt politicians, pocketing our tax dollars and not allowing us to progress and promising us, equality and freedom. Well, we have freedom in this country, but people abuse the freedom, and they don't use it in the right context. They just simply, we have these terrorists coming into the United States, threatening us and telling us they're gonna do this and that from different countries. Look at the World Trade Center. It was well planned, and I believe the President of the United States during that time, which was George W. Bush, didn't know, was caught asleep. Maybe some people, think different, but I think, he was caught asleep, and that was a very terrorist attack to this country, and it was uncalled for. We need a leader in this country. We don't need a fake politician who promises one thing and then says another, like President Obama. When he first got elected, I thought he was a good president because he promised change. But all he has done in this country is create debt and more debt and wars. We don't need wars. We need a war of words to change this country and make it a better place. We need people to unify and just stand their ground and stand for what they believe in, and not be hypocrites and bigots like there is in this society. Somebody asked me the other day why society holds me back. I believe society holds me back because of the fact that, I try to, I'm very ambitious, and I try to, I'm a lot more quicker than a lot of people. I'm not better than anybody. Maybe I have a little bit of a high ego, and egocentrism sometimes could be bad or sometimes could be good. But I believe it's for the good, my ego. I don't know. I just believe that overall I'm a good person and I can help a lot of people, but society holds me back and doesn't allow me to progress. Tupac Shakur said, maybe it's not the best example, but Tupac Shakur said, Lady Liberty lied to me, promised me equality, freedom, and justice. Well, I agree with him, because this country doesn't give you equality. There's a lot of discrimination towards blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and people from different countries, and there is no equality or freedom of speech no more, because when you want to use freedom of speech, you have to live in fear, because if you use freedom of speech, they tell you you're doing the wrong thing and you're putting it in the wrong context. But I believe, we need to get that freedom of speech back and abide by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, what we stand for. We the people of the United States of America hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Well, that creed is not followed anymore. There's not enough leaders, positive leaders and positive role models in the society. There are more followers than leaders. One thing is true. It's easy to stand in a crowd, but when that crowd, disappears, it takes courage to stand alone, what you stand for, what you believe in. There's a lot of communist dictators, especially the one from my country, Fidel Castro, who supposedly fought in the Sierra Maestra and was going to change the country. And, he said he wasn't a communist in 1962 because I did the research and I seen a lot of videos and I read a lot of books and articles about Cuba. And he wanted to take over the world, but he failed because he wasn't a real leader. He was a hypocrite, and he lied to the people. He manipulated them, and he has a false idiosyncrasy about what freedom is. He said Jose Marti was a communist, and Jose Marti wasn't a communist. He believed in freedom, and he wrote a lot of poems about freedom because I read them. I have a book about it. It's called La Edad de Oro. I have it next to my bedside, and I read it every night. And everything he said is true. And I believe I speak the truth as well, and I believe I can be a great leader for this country. Maybe I can't be president because I was born in another country, but I can go in the Senate and I can argue how to amend laws, and make changes in this country for the better, for real. Not be a hypocrite and pretend, what is true is not true. I'm not practice what I preach, and I stand my ground. Anyway, I'm not trying to, sound like I'm better than anybody, or, I have a high ego and I think I'm on top of the world, because I'm not. But I just speak the truth. Like a lot of people from history, like Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, positive people, positive role models that really can make an influence on your life and the impact on others. Like I said, I'm not perfect because I'm a human being, but this country is gonna crumble to the ground if somebody doesn't speak up and stand for what they believe in. I don't have a university degree yet, but I will, and I have a lot of plans that I want to do for my life. And there may be certain people who are laughing at this video and think I'm not capable of doing certain things, but that only makes me stronger, wiser, and bolder. Why is there homelessness in America? You don't know what that person's been through in their life. Maybe there are some homeless people that, they're alcoholics and they drink and they don't want to be helped. But I believe there are homeless people that want to have jobs and help in this society. But these politicians, don't allow that, and they keep neglecting them in this society. And I believe that's wrong and evil, because all these politicians promise one thing, but they're all full of shit. And I don't have to sit here and allow it anymore. I'm standing my ground for a lot of people who work really hard to come to this country and have what they want. And then we have these immigrants coming here that they don't want to work, they don't want to do nothing, they want everything to be given to them free. And that's just not just. It's unjustifiable and wrong and ignorant. And somebody has to come up and speak their mind. And I believe I will be a great leader. And you can't live in fear, because when you live in fear, you're not a man, you're a coward. And a real man doesn't talk shit about another person, or doesn't talk shit about another man behind their back. If they're a real man and they have pride in themselves and principles, they face that person and they tell them in their face. I may live in the United States of America, but I feel like I live in fear. I live paranoid. I live, I live trapped. In other words, people don't respect me and they take me as a joke. But you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. Excuse the language, because there are certain people, and they know who I'm talking about, that doubt me and tell me I'm not capable of doing certain things in my life. But like I mentioned earlier, it only makes me stronger and wiser and bold. I firmly believe in what I'm saying, and those who doubt me, can say whatever they want, but they're totally wrong, and I don't have to allow that anymore. I know I'm a good person. I have a good heart, and a lot of people out there know that. Probably a lot of people like me. Probably I have a lot of enemies, but I love my enemies as well as my friends. But the only real friend I have is God. He's the one that watches over me day in and day out, and allows me to wake up in the morning and hope for a brighter day and a brighter future. Tupac Shakur said, for every dark night there's a bright day. So keep your head up and stick your chest out and handle it. No matter how hard or how adversities there are in your life, you have to be proud of who you are and keep being stronger 7 times, like Dwayne Wade said when he fell to the ground several times and he couldn't play anymore. He just got back up and became stronger. That's the type of person I want to be, and I want to lead, in this country and throughout the world. I want to travel to different countries and help people that are starving, that don't have freedom of speech, that don't have equality, whether they're black, white, Chinese, Hispanic, whatever they're from. We're all human beings, and we all need to unite and stop the discrimination, whether it be racial, whatever the origin, creed, whatever you're from, whatever religion you believe in. You just can't be a fanatic like these terrorists are trying to take over this country, and that's totally wrong. We have to stand up and be firm. There has to be a positive leader, and I believe I could be that leader. And a lot of people will admire me and, have my back, hopefully, because of the fact that, some people think that certain things that I'm interested in are not realistic, but you know what? Nobody will know that until they read the inside of a book or read the inside of a person. Not the physical or the metaphysical, but the interior, and, read their mind, have self-knowledge. You don't need to go to the university to have knowledge. If I was in the university, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than anybody or any of my professors, but there was a certain professor that I had recently that told me that there's no such thing as communism in the world. I totally disagree, because if there wasn't communism in the world, China is a communist state, North Korea is a communist state, Cuba is a communist country. Why would these Cubans come here and go on the waters and risk their life for freedom and go on hunger strikes in Cuba? I've seen videos of Cuba and China and North Korea where the people are mistreated, and you don't have freedom of speech, and if you say something against the government, they put you in jail for 20-30 years and they don't care about you. They treat you like trash. And that's the way I feel about myself and people who envy me and think I'm not smart enough to do certain things with my life. But I know I'm smart, I'm bold, I read a lot in my spare time, I write a lot, and I'm planning on writing a book, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 pages, and people will hear me, my predicament. I'm not neocentric, or I think I'm better than anybody else, because I'm very humble, but I believe I can help a lot of people because I'm a leader and I stand from the crowd. Well, when I do get my degree, I'm gonna shock the world. You'll see, man. It's not over. Bye.